So what's going on, guys? You can see I can kind of move my hand a little bit, still sore. I get the cast off on Thursday. People who know me and know this channel, normally it's a drone channel. Primarily it's a drone channel, but I've also talked about my anxiety and my depression, more anxiety than anything. And I think it stems from a lot of stuff, but regardless, I'm not going to get into all of that. I just want to explain and do a follow-up regarding my ketamine therapy, the infusions that I went and did, and kind of talk about that because I had some people asking, and I feel it's my obligation based on my experience to give some feedback so people are aware of what to expect. And unlike myself, I had some expectations which were really let down, I guess. I was let down because it wasn't at all what I was expecting based on what I was seeing on YouTube. So I did what you guys are probably doing, watched a bunch of YouTube videos and did my research and did as much homework as I could. I even called places and talked to different places, and all seemed great. But then when the actual reality came, when I was going for day one of my infusion, it really sucked. So I'm going to talk about that. And so ketamine, as people know, is a psychedelic. I kind of got inspired to do this today. I saw my little DMT-inspired hat that my friend made for me. He actually hand-painted this. Really talented tattoo artist and good soul. But I had this. I don't really wear it because it's really beautiful and I don't want to ruin it, and I just don't really rock fedoras anymore. And I had my little mushroom shirt on, so I figured this is probably the best time to go and do this. I actually went out to listen to some live music with a friend of mine. She actually works with MAPS, which is a psychedelic research place. So it's been in the air. I just listened to Coast, I think Sunday night. They had Dennis McKenna on, Terrence McKenna's brother. So it just seems like a lot of talk about psychedelic therapy has been going around lately. So for those who don't know, I deal with a lot of really bad anxiety at times. I'm trying to get on top of it, but we all have a lot going on right now, whether it's financial, whether it's just the COVID crap, the stress of everything, chaotic in this world right now. We have wars going on. And again, tune out of all that. Do the best to not listen to the news and surround yourself by beauty and look at the positive sides of things. Donate your time, work with animals, do whatever you can to stay out of that noise, because it is a lot of noise. So ketamine therapy is something that's supposed to be very good for basically resetting your brain. It's supposed to, work with the synapses of your brain to kind of reset stuff so you can essentially get a clean slate to go and do what you need to do to start thinking more positively and doing more positive things, and kind of just giving you, a fresh start. In theory, I don't really even know a ton about it. I just know that it's been studied. A lot of people have had success. There was a person in my town where I was living in Batavia that was a vet. He had really horrible PTSD, and he said it was life-changing for him. So I researched and talked to not only people that I saw on YouTube by commenting and doing that kind of thing and calling facilities and calling clinics, but I actually talked to some real people in my area. So I felt pretty confidently that there was some hope in this treatment. And he spoke very highly of this one clinic, the second clinic that I went to in Chicago. So I felt pretty good and probably pretty hopeful that this was going to do something. Maybe I thought it was going to just completely take away my anxiety. Maybe I had unreal expectations. And it's kind of bad because you don't want to really have any expectations in life because you're usually let down when you do. But at the same time, it's hard not to be hopeful, and I guess that's what I mean. I'm not really expecting things, but I'm hopeful that something will come out of it good as far as relieving my anxiety. So it's hard to actually know how to hold your hand with this. I'm off my painkillers, and I'm just trying to deal with the pain until Thursday when I get my cast off. But so I basically decided, I researched some different places. There's a place called Mind Bloom, and I saw some ad or something on Facebook, and I looked into it a little bit. And essentially what Mind Bloom does is they send you the actual ketamine through the mail in a lozenge form. So I thought that was pretty cool because you could do it in the comfort of your own home. But then I talked to my therapist and I talked to some other people, and they said it may be good to get out of your home and out of your space and go into a clinic where it's monitored and everyone's there kind of looking over you. And it made sense. So I'm like, okay, I may not go the Mind Bloom route, but I know they had some integration, and I know meaning they had someone to talk to you beforehand and after and even during, possibly. I'm not sure about the during, but they send you essentially enough to get started, something to measure your oxygen level, I think a little blood pressure cuff, the medicine, and some like blindfolds or something, and then you probably choose your own music and sit in your own bed or sit in your own space and have someone there who can watch over you just in case anything were to happen. Pretty safe, so you know, ketamine, as far as the therapy is concerned, it's used as an anesthetic, so it's been used widely for a long time. So people say, oh, you know, it's a party drug. Yeah, you can abuse anything as a party drug. Like people smoke DMT and use DMT and stuff as a party substance when it's really not a party substance at all. You don't go smoke DMT and go to a concert, just like you don't eat 5 grams of mushrooms and do something goofy like go to a party. You know, I mean, it's something that is a medicine to a lot of people. And regardless, basically, it's hard to talk about this because there's so much to cover and I have a hard time staying on track as far as where to focus on. So I'm just going to let you know, Mindbloom was the first place that I researched. I opted to not go with Mindbloom, and I thought maybe I would go somewhere where I can get the actual physical infusion, meaning an IV into my hand. They did it on my left hand, so they put an IV basically in this top vein, and you sat and started the infusion. So what they first would do is come in, basically start the IV, and then they'll administer something for nausea if you want. Most likely that's what you should get because it will make you nauseous. And then they'll start the ketamine drip. So it's essentially an hour, give or take, of the actual treatment, meaning the infusion, but you should allow yourself enough time beforehand, enough time after, because afterwards you're pretty much really out of it and you don't want to be rushing to have to go somewhere. So you want to really set aside essentially the entire day if you were to do this. And that was one of the things I didn't quite understand or get because I didn't have that experience, but really it took a lot of energy because you essentially had to devote all this time, like 2 weeks straight, because I did 3 infusions 2 weeks in a row, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the days of the infusions, you basically are rendered pretty useless. And then the days that are between the infusions, you essentially should be doing something relaxing, being in nature. You really don't want to be doing anything that isn't beautiful and peaceful and kind of resetting yourself in a nice positive way. So I wouldn't want to be going back to work on those 2 days or something to that effect. So really you should just X off those entire 2 weeks if you were to do it. So it is a lot of energy. You have to have someone drive you there and take you back. So there's that, because there's no way you're going to be able to drive safely after the infusions. So you got to have someone else who you can bring and rely on to hold space for you, because you want someone there to give you some kind of loving space and guidance, or just being there. Like my friends were, a couple people came with me and they basically just sat in the room and held space for me, which was really beautiful. And that was that. So, okay. We're going to go back to the beginning. So I went to this place in Naperville, Illinois, and I'm not going to name names. If you want to know, you can message me or ask me. But this place, I talked to them. They seemed nice enough. I go there for the first infusion, and excited. I'm nervous. I prepped. Obviously, I had to kind of mentally prepare for this. I get to the clinic. My friend drove me. So she had to take time out of her day. I took time out of my day. I'm ready to go. It's essentially like $350 to $500 an infusion usually, so you guys are aware of the price. So it is a commitment, it's an investment, and it's a lot of energy. And it's not easy. So if you think the ketamine treatment is easy, it's not. It's a lot of work. You're going to trip your ass off. You're going to have a really hard time at times. It's going to get dark. It's going to get heavy. And it's not something that is easy. I was not really looking forward to the infusions, honestly. It was something that I just wanted essentially to run through my system, and I made the best of it, but at the same time, it was really challenging a lot of times. Your critical mind starts to go, and for me, it was really kind of wreaking havoc and playing tricks on me. Anyway, regardless of that, I went in the first day to the Naperville clinic. We walk up, park and do all of that kind of stuff. We get to the door. The door was kind of like not working well. whatever, no big deal. You don't think anything of it. We get into the clinic. It wasn't really overly impressive. They had some dead plants in the hallway. Just visually, it wasn't really stimulating. It wasn't really warm and comforting like you would go to like a healing place, like a yoga studio or a holistic place, like a, a spa or something to that effect. So it didn't have that warm, loving, fuzzy feeling. It was kind of cold, kind of sterile, more gray, just really lacking life and color. So for me, initially, I'm like, this is it. This kind of looks sucky and not really great. And one lady came up and she was nice enough, but at the same time, she was the only one there. So I kind of was taken back. I'm like, you're it? You're the only one here? She's like, yeah, it's fine. We do this all the time. But I automatically didn't feel comfortable and didn't feel safe having one person there to do the infusion, to handle everything that was coming up. I saw a lot of different videos and it seemed like there was a bunch of people there. I envisioned maybe someone at a desk welcoming me and talking to me and maybe comforting me and letting me know things are going to be great and you're going to have a great experience, whatever, some kind of something other than one person just coming, and that was that. So the place really wasn't that great. It was gray, very clinical, very cold, kind of sterile feeling. They had some artwork, nothing really great and impressive, but the rooms had dividers that went up, not to the ceiling, so they weren't completely separated and soundproof, but the first day I was the only one in the clinic, so it wasn't that big of a deal. And I was there, I didn't really feel comfortable with her being the only one there administering everything, but I made this effort and I was kind of psychologically ready. So I figured, I'm just going to take the chance and trust the flow. And we went in, did the infusion, and so she went ahead and hooked up my IV, kind of got me ready and ran the one anti-nausea fluid through. And then they start the ketamine infusion, the drip, and I start feeling it coming through and I start feeling, like I'm kind of sinking into this whole ketamine realm. And right when I'm kind of getting going and I pick my music and I have my little playlist, she starts opening and slamming the door to the office, like really loud, like jarring, boom, 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 boom. And she did that probably, half a dozen times. So she was apparently trying to fix, oh shoot, this light went out, but I'm going to still rock it because whatever. But she's sitting there during my infusion, right when I'm starting to come on, opening and shutting and doing this really jarring thing with this door. And it really just took me back. I'm like, wow, this person, in my mind, I've tripped before and I've, had experiences before, not in this kind of clinical setting, but at the same time, set and setting is so crucial. And I automatically knew that things weren't feeling right. But for her to be that clueless and opening and shutting this door repeatedly in a really loud, jarring way while I'm in my, mid infusion in the ketamine realm, it just really made me nervous because I didn't feel confident that I was in the right place. I'm like, wow, what got me to this point where I'm actually getting an infusion of some kind of psychedelic, dealing with anxiety, and I'm like in this crappy setting. So it didn't feel good at all, and it was really unnerving and not really comfortable. I went through with the rest of the infusion and it was fine for the most part, but they didn't really have any kind of integration afterwards, no one to talk to. Essentially, I felt like I got spit out onto the street. I could barely walk. I literally brought a cane with me the next 2 times because it was that hard to even get back to my car. So there's no real place to go and sit and wind down or have anyone talk to you. So that was a big disappointment to me. And that was something that's really missing in this whole ketamine picture because they seem to not get it. None of these people have used ketamine either. I guarantee the majority of these clinics have not used and experienced ketamine themselves. And if you talk about ayahuasca or mushrooms or a lot of those kind of iboga, all of those shamans and maestros will be in the space with you. They're going to take the medicine and drink the ayahuasca and be right there guiding you. So they don't get that side of it in this clinic. And I know my friend who's in Hawaii and friends with Peru and blah, blah, blah. They do a lot of ayahuasca ceremonies and they're pretty high up there. And he was kind of just saying to me, God, I can't believe you're actually running an IV into you with this synthetic crap. Like, go to the jungle and heal, heal with the plant medicine as opposed to this garbage that I'm doing. And I kind of now look back and agree with them. Like, I should have taken that energy and that money and that time and gone to Peru and gone through a ceremony as opposed to sticking an IV and a needle in my vein and going through what I went through. Because honestly, the majority of this experience has been pretty traumatic. The second time I went to this Naperville clinic, there were 2 people there. So one lady in the room next to me, and there's still one nurse who's administering the IVs and monitoring 2 people now. And long story short, I had a really powerful, experience with the ketamine. At the end, I started to cry. It was really emotional and powerful and really beautiful, actually. And guess what? The lady next to me shushes me. So I have this lady shushing me while I'm in this really, fragile state. So it just sucked. There was those kinds of things that were so clueless and so not right and not acceptable that I just really have a bad taste in my mouth for this whole thing. So I would suggest anyone who's thinking about it to really research where you're going if you're going to go ahead and deal with the ketamine. And maybe you have lower expectations. I don't know. I just know set and setting is everything. I want fresh flowers by me. I want some beautiful artwork. I want some nice music. I want some loving people. I don't want to have, sterile stainless steel, countertops and stuff like that. So that's me. And I went through basically 3 treatments at this Naperville location. And then I went to a place in the city where that guy with the vet who had PTSD said was really great. I went there, they talked with me. They gave me a good deal because I talked to them and said I can't really afford, what they were asking, which was like $550 or something a session. And I had high hopes because the vet and someone I knew said it was a really great place and you'll have a great experience. And it basically was the same kind of thing. Above them was a plastic surgery place. So, it was like, I felt like I was going to get Botox or something. That was kind of how I felt like I was getting treated. Same thing. There was just someone there. The reception, they had more people there, mind you. So it wasn't like the other place with one person only, which was a huge red flag for me. But at the same time, there were still a lot of things. They still made noise on occasion when I was in the peak of the infusion out in the hallway. And I just rolled my eyes at the person that was with me in the room that experienced the same thing at the other clinic. And it was like, I can't believe it. Like, I can't even believe that they're that clueless, that they're doing the same shit. So it was really just scary that they're that, it just feels like they're out for your money. And I guess that's the vibe I got. And when I stopped going to that place in Chicago, the doctor who was the main guy at the clinic I talked to on the phone, walk in the same time he did, didn't even give you a common courtesy hello, just ignored you. It was so mind-blowing how there wasn't even really a kindness there. And that to me, again, was another big red flag. So finished off the 3 infusions in the city, and it just sucked. It was stressful to drive down to the city for it. I don't want to be in the city to ideally do this. I don't want to be in the city really regardless, but it just wasn't what I was expecting at all. And I was really let down. When I stopped going to the clinic in the city, you think they would call to say, hey, what happened to you? Are you going to go and do another infusion? Like, are you all right? No call, nothing. So they just dropped me and really, took my money, and that was it. So in my opinion, I would look for something else other than ketamine. If you really feel you want to go through with it, fine. But personally, I would recommend going to the Mind Bloom side of things because at least you can control your set and setting and be in a really loving, warm space and control your environment, because that is huge, to have no noise, no jarring doors opening and shutting, no rude people kind of being mean to you and not acknowledging or dressing you or pushing you out on the street because they don't want you in their office. It just really sucked. So that lack of integration was really lame. And I know Mind Bloom, and this isn't a plug for them, they're not paying me at all. I haven't even used Mind Bloom, but I just think that's a nice conservative route to go as opposed to going and sticking a needle in your hand or in your vein. So I would check out Mind Bloom if you do want to consider ketamine treatment, and control your space, control who you have in your home, control your music, and just be in charge of everything, knowing that at least you don't have these people that are there really kind of tainting the entire space for you. What else? That's where I think they're just really lacking. I don't think they know about the set and setting, how the importance of that really is in the experience, you know, you are going to trip your ass off. That's the reality. Ketamine is a psychedelic. So when you're there, don't think you're just getting a vitamin B12 infusion or something. You're going to really go pretty far. And one time, the last infusion at the other place, I don't know if they didn't give me a big enough dose where I didn't kind of get into the ketamine realm, but I felt like I was going to die. Like I was literally feeling like my brain was like twisting and just really not in a good space, and I felt horrible. I felt like something was going on, and it was just a really traumatic way to end it, and it really sucked. So I knew after that last infusion I was done. I'm like, done, time out, not doing this again. I just didn't want to have anything to do with the stress of driving to the city, the stress of dealing with these people that weren't even that nice, the stress of handing out more money. So yeah, as I said, it's a lot of energy, and it wasn't really something that I could say was great. It was more of a negative than a positive. I did pull some things out of the experience, but at the same time, no, it kind of, you know, it was more of a down than an up. So I just want to talk to people so they know that it isn't just all, you know, you're going to go to a clinic, get ketamine infusion, it's going to be great. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of energy, it's a lot of money, it's a lot of stress, or it can be. I want to cover enough that people are aware. So my consensus is tread lightly and tread cautiously if you are going to explore the ketamine treatment side of things. If it works for you or worked for you, awesome. I'm so happy for you, honestly. I wish it would have worked for me, and I wish I would have had a better experience, but I really do feel they're lacking that set and setting and that whole holistic side of this journey. They really don't get it at all. The places just visually were horrible, and I'll try to put a couple pictures in there so you have an idea. But yeah, they just don't get it, you know, and that's the reality. At least the places that I went to didn't get it, and I'm pretty confident that I can say that with, you know, a right reason, because they just weren't good. I mean, the first place had one person there in the entire clinic. That doesn't seem to make sense. That doesn't even seem to be safe. Almost doesn't even seem to be legal, in my opinion. One person, like, what happens if she passed out? What happens if something happened where I freaked out and some other person freaked out at the same time? She's the only one there. So I don't know how they get away with that. And I do feel, as I said, that it just seems very money driven right now, and it doesn't seem like you're going and doing a really beautiful experience with someone who, you know, maybe giving you a ceremony like an ayahuasca or something, even though I haven't done ayahuasca or used ayahuasca. So a lot to say, but that's it. That's the ketamine kind of follow-up video. I'm hoping this helps some people. I would definitely check out, if you are interested in the ketamine thing, Mind Bloom. They seem to be pretty darn cool. I don't know, I just get this gut intuition, good vibe about them, that it seems more pure. It seems like they have this integration. They're there for you. I haven't used them. I'm almost tempted to go and try it with them just to see and have a totally different experience that I can control 110% with no slamming doors and no annoying people and no plastic surgery, Botox lip people answering the doors and ignoring me and being rude. So anyone who's dealing with any kind of mental health, anxiety, depression, PTSD, you know, you're not alone. Health and mental health is health, just like physical health. I mean, I recently had, you know, a little physical assault thing, and it was really traumatic and triggered my anxiety. And people want to say you weren't hurt because you didn't get punched or kicked or anything. But like I was telling my attorneys with that, you know, the mental health side of things is health, and that's it. So you're not alone. You're loved. You're going to get past this. We all are. Just stay positive, focus on the light, know you're loved, and go easy on yourself too. So there's that. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I hope this helps someone, even if it helps one person, mission accomplished. So I want people to understand that ketamine may be a really great option for a lot of people, but it's definitely not perfected. It has a long way to go, in my opinion. When I went to this healing circle the other night, it was a really beautiful space. You got nice warm people. You have water there if you want it. You have fresh plants. You have nice artwork, nice warm, soft, subdued lighting. You know, they're burning Palo Santo or sage or something. So, I mean, they're just more, they just get it. And these places did not get it, at least where I went to. So stay safe, guys. That's it. And get back to drones very soon, and aloha. Bye.